We are losing our listening. Why is this happening? Well, there's a whole bunch of reasons why this is happening. First of all, we invented ways of recording. Initially, it was visual recording. Now we have audio recording and video recording too. The premium on careful listening has reduced. In the old days, if you missed it, you missed it. That's no longer true. Secondly, we have a world that's increasingly noisy. It looks like this, it sounds like this, and with this kind of cacophony hitting us all the time, it becomes harder and harder to listen clearly. We're more and more tempted to take refuge from that, which many people do with these. There's a couple of downsides of these. The biggest one is this. Noise-induced hearing loss. 1 in 8 American teenagers has got damaged hearing as a result of headphone abuse. We're raising an entire deaf generation, potentially. The other big downside of headphones is that we take an enormous shared social space like this, could be a train carriage, could be an airport terminal, and we turn it into this. Millions of little individual sound bubbles. In this situation, nobody's listening to anyone. Not listening is also a result of our increasing pace of life. We're not so interested anymore in oratory. We want sound bites. We don't listen to albums. We listen to tracks. It's fast. It's immediate. And this 140-character culture that we're developing has introduced a whole new paradigm of communication, which I call personal broadcasting. This message is all too common. I don't know about here, but in the UK, there are a lot of teenagers with their hearts broken by that one. I don't know how much listening there is in that conversation. And then there's a phenomenon which is becoming increasingly common. It's called sodcasting. I don't know if you had that word in the US yet. I introduce it to you with my compliments if you don't. This is the thoughtless imposition of noise on other people. Of course, one person's sound is another person's noise. Typically, sodcasting is characterized as a bunch of teenagers on the back of a bus playing music through the loudspeaker on their mobile phone. But that's a little bit unfair to the teenagers. I'll give you another variety of sodcasting. I was in an airport lounge not so long ago, where about 35 of us, quietly working, were subjected to an extremely loud, one-ended telephone conversation by somebody pacing up and down who clearly thought his phone wasn't working well enough and had to shout to be heard hundreds of miles away. That's white-collar sodcasting. Just as damaging, and that thoughtless imposition of sound comes from just not listening. Our media are screaming at us more and more. We're becoming desensitized. We have to have words like shock and fury in order to pay attention to things now. In this situation, it becomes increasingly hard to hear the quiet, the small voice.